Hi everyone, I'm Tom, and in this video I'm going to be showing you Bone Wars, which is a big Eurogame designed around the Great Dinosaur Rush, a genuine period of ruthless fossil hunting between two American paleontologists, Marsh and Cope. Geller apparently not involved. Over the course of their rivalry, different teams were bribed, bones were stolen, dig sites were damaged and destroyed, and they sought to damage each other's reputations wherever possible. Over 20 years they made tons and tons of discoveries, 136 species of dinosaurs, if this rulebook I'm paraphrasing is to be believed. And so we ourselves are paleontologists in this game under the patronage of either Cope or Marsh. It's our choice throughout the game, and we can alternate that allegiance. We've got teams of our own, and we are going to be clamouring for the most reputation points. As an early epilogue though, I'm also told that both these men bankrupted themselves, were socially ruined, and harmed the reputation of American paleontology in Europe for decades. So maybe, be nice to each other, eh? This is on GameFound right now. I'll put a link in the corner of the screen and in the description to the campaign page where you can see the final stuff. This is all a prototype. Should look very much like the final version, but if you notice some things that aren't quite right, hey, check out the Kickstarter page. It'll show you what the final thing should hopefully look like. I'm also doing a full solo playthrough of this. If you would like to just see it in action, then that will also be linked in the description. This is just a brief, well, after that introduction, yes, it's meant to be a brief overview of how the game works. And both of these videos are sponsored by the publisher Game Brewer. Game Brewer, wherever you would like to place the emphasis. So here's my player area at the start of a game. It tells us which person I'm under the patronage of. I chose this during setup, but as I said, it can flip over the course of the game. I've got some crates where I can store fossils, and I've got a couple here. I've got a skull, I've got a tail. We will be using these either to reconstruct the skeletons of various species, or to debunk the discoveries made by our rival patron. You only got 4 slots, but as the game goes on, we can unlock more and more of them. And we have cards. We have team cards. Everybody starts with the same set of these, but they can be upgraded into better versions. And you can even get these specialist upgrades. You see how these cards are all torn out here? Well, these cards can be played with a specialist you've unlocked. So as well as doing its normal thing, hey, now it would get me an extra paleontologist card, or get me the current round's bonus, or let me move cards around in my archive. So I've got team cards that will move my team around the US of states. Here it is, starting in your current university and flowing all around. There are player pieces of other colours blocking off spaces if you are playing with fewer than 4 players. You've got paleontologist cards that can give you a special bonus if you put your paleontologist on a particular action. And you've got species cards that you can play to do either of those things. On your turn, you'll play a card from your hand or you'll pass, and the cards get played into these slots from left to right. So I could choose a team card to do something with my team. There's a cost to playing cards. There's a cost on the slot itself and on the card, depending on which card type you're playing. So this would cost me $1 of my dollars to play, and we can see it's going to give me an action point for my dig team and tell me where I am allowed to dig. And built into my player board, I've got a move for my team as well, which is going to help. Over the course of the game, as you get dig sites out, you can increase the number of moves you get, as well as the number of cards you're allowed to keep in your archive. So with my one move, I've got to go to a dig site. You've got 2 different dig sites connected to the university you started at. So I could just move on out to a dig site, and I've got various ways that I can spend these action points. I can spend an action point to pick up a bone tile of my choice here, but restricted by the dig depth that I am allowed. This card actually lets me go from all 3 depths, but if I'd played this card, I would only be able to take the top tile. So I could choose any of those for an action point. I could choose the dig sites bonus. This particular one lets me flip my allegiance early. You can activate the bonus of the dig site your people are at, or anywhere that you have got your campsites set up. You can spend an action point to refresh the card and the tiles that are out here. You can spend 2 action points to take the species card, an action point to set up a campsite. You can only have 1 on each site, and as you can see, depending on your player count, this is a 2-player setup, you might not have much space. So you might really want to get those out first, even though they're costing you precious actions. And if you've used up all of those free moves, then you can spend an action point to move your team further if you really want to be somewhere. Remember, a species card can be either a team card or a paleontologist card. When you play it, there's actually something printed on your player board that tells you how many action points you get and your dig depth allowed, which is a bit more lenient as you go over here. You can unlock bonuses to upgrade these action slots and put something in instead that might reduce the cost or increase it if you put it early on, but change the dig depth that you're allowed, or even choose to put that bonus alongside your board and be able to play more cards per round. Playing these species cards can also give you a bonus if you match up the minor find symbol here. So in this case, we've got the spiral fossil. If I was to play it to this card slot later in the round, I'd get myself the bonus, which on this card is $3. Paleontologist cards only do paleontologist actions, but can give you a bonus if you choose the right one. So they've got a cost in the slot, but no cost on the card. And we've got 4 actions where we can send our paleontologists. It's got to be a different action, a different space to where they currently are. First, you can publish a paper. You can do this as many times as you like in one turn. For it, you need to have gotten yourself a species card and the correct bones required. You might need a particular skull. Some species cards are a bit more lenient and have got either or on them. This one would need a carnivore's bone token, some kind of limb, in this case it would be a flipper, and you can also add in tails and torsos, which the cards don't require, but you can add them in to get better rewards, as we'll see. Let's just assume I had a couple of the right bone tiles already in my possession to do this with, based on the number of different bone tiles that you have assembled to make this skeleton. So just the basic requirement on the card is just going to get you 1 loyalty. If you added in a torso or a tail as well, you get a loyalty, plus you get the bonus from the card, which you just saw was $3. If you do the required 2 plus a torso and a tail, you get 2 loyalty and the reward on the card, and the current round's bonus, which can be, you know, upgrading your hand. It can be getting upgraded card slots. It can be money. It can be tiles from the back. It can be loads of great things. What's this loyalty, though? Well, we have these bookshelves and tracks. We start out on the 0 spaces, just slightly off the camera there. But as we gain loyalty, we will move steps up our current patron's track. And this is going to be very important for scoring as the game goes on. So you gain whatever bonus based on the bones you have spent. In this case, I would get 1 loyalty. Then you need to archive the species. Based on its minor find symbol here, it's going to go in a particular slot above your player board. In this case, it's got the spiral fossil there, so it would slot in just there. You would get the bonus as many times as there are cards in that slot now. So I would get myself 1 paleontologist card. Your limit is 1 card per slot at the start of the game, but as you get campsites out, you can increase that to 3 per slot. And as you've seen, you can get bonuses that allow you to move cards that have already been placed into slots maybe where they're not allowed, which can really help you out for rewards, as we'll see in a bit. So we've spent the 2 fossils, we've archived the card. The last thing it tells us to do is to publish the paper. You grab a tile with a number on it based on the number of fossil tiles you discarded. I did 2, so this book's got a 2 on it. Flip it to the side matching your patron, so mine would be on the red side, and put it on their bookshelf. We want our patron to have a lot of books on their shelves, and we want to have our loyalty marker very far up their track for scoring. That's going to happen twice. Once after the 2nd round, and once at the end of the game after the 4th round. Publishing can be a dangerous matter though, because other paleontologists can come and debunk a paper. To do this, you need to discard sets of identical bone tokens. It doesn't matter which ones. Depending on how many you discarded, you get 1, 2, or 4 loyalty. You can only debunk things from your patron's rival, essentially. So as we can see, our rival over here has got the other patron currently, so would be allowed to spend these 2 bone tokens, get his 1 loyalty, flip the tile over to his patron's side. So he's debunked us, he's humiliated us because he's got the actual proof of whatever it is that we proved. And now they've got the book. So another use for the bone tokens, another way to get your patron filling their shelves. Because the way scoring is going to work is, you look at every shelf your patron has that has a book in it. These are just neutral blocking books based on the player count. We don't consider them. Let's say at a scoring, I was up here and my patron has 1, 2, 3 shelves with books on. They don't have to be full. So it'd be 3 multiplied by my loyalty value, which in this area is 3. I would get 9 points for that. As if my rival even was all the way up to the top and got multiplied by 7. They've only got 1 shelf of books, so we'd only get 7 points for that. So you need to be filling up the bookshelves and also moving up the loyalty track. But remember, those loyalties can switch around, so you've got to keep an eye on when your allegiance might want to shift. You can come and claim an award. The award tiles here, there's 6 of each type in the game. We just use 1 of each in each session. And they will reward you with loyalty when you choose to claim them. Each player's got 3 award markers, 1 for each of the different ones. And you need to satisfy their requirements. So each of the species cards have got a Discoverer's seal on there. In this particular game, we want to have species in our archive. They're all to do with species in your archive, but are discovered by cope. So you can claim it if you've just got 1, but you'll get no loyalty. In this game, the middle one's blocked off because it's only there for 4 players. If you've got 2, you can claim 1 loyalty. In a 4-player game, that would actually be worth 2 loyalty. And if you had 3, you'd get the full 3 loyalty. Over here, you want particular types of species discovered. So we've got, reptiles and amphibians and all of that. Amphibians are actually wild. You want to have the right symbols amongst your archive to claim these awards, and these ones want you to have a particular number of species in that letter's archive. So for that, you're going to have to put some camps out to be able to put 3 in there if you want to claim the big rewards there. So you claim 1 of the award tiles and get its particular reward, and also get the current rounds bonus as well. You can make a minor find. This is another way to get species into your archive. You need to have a species card in your hand, put it in your archive, and you get the bonus of the envelope as many times as there are cards there now. And then you find the minor find tile that corresponds to the one on the card. So you take the spiral fossil one away. You could choose either of them, and you gain the bonus that's on the tile in the column you took that tile from. So I could either have chosen that one, while there's 2, to get $3, or I could choose this one to get 3 dig site bonuses, and they can come from any dig site, the same one 3 times if I want. I don't have to have a dig site there, just any 3 dig site bonuses. Or I could be getting more tiles from the bag, get 2 rare bones tiles that you just choose from at the top there, remove cover tiles and unlock more fossil spaces to store things on your player board. At the end of a round, you'll go back to a space on the university. The university you choose is going to decide who your patron is for the next round, and you might need to swap your allegiances. But it's also going to give you a grant bonus for the next round as well, which might make particular minor find symbols count as any. Whenever you draw tiles from the bag, draw an extra one and discard one at the end of it. Move extra spaces, your team gets like 2 extra moves. Loads of different options, and there's loads of those that didn't come out. You'll only see 4 in a game. So after 2 rounds, each player scores the loyalty of both sides. And at the end of the game, after the 4th round, we score both sides 1 more time. Most points wins. There are ways of scoring extra points, whether it's through the bonuses of patrons, whether it's through putting things in particular archives, but this is the really lucrative way of grabbing them. Most points wins. If you tie, it's the most species cards in your archive who wins. And if there's still a tie, the player with the greatest cranial circumference wins the game. Because remember, this is the 19th century, and that person must have the bigger brain and will win the game. So there we go. That is a quick charge through Bone Wars. I will put the campaign link in the description so you can check all of that out. But remember, I am doing a full solo playthrough of this, so you can see the game completely in action and watch me inevitably lose to a bot player. Thank you very much for watching this, though. You can subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. There are ways to support the channel in the description if you would like to do that. Thank you so much if you can, and I'll see you for the next game. Bye, everyone.